Hello and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Yvette Quale. I like to create craft tutorials for beadwork, junk journaling, paper crafting, and more. I also do completed junk journal flip-throughs, as well as a few other things that interest me. So in today's video, I've had a couple people message me through the various Facebook groups that I belong to that has to do with junk journaling, and ask me how I am piecing together the cover for this upcoming journal that I'm making. So what I've done is I have some backing. So if you guys have been watching my channel on my Boho Sisters journals, I used a piece of quilting that's like from a comforter, and I just took the main batting off and used this, the kind of top cover batting, and I ran out of that, so I didn't know what to do because I didn't have any more. So I went and picked up some of this Warm and Natural needled cotton batting, and this is what I am using. So this is all an experiment because I'm doing this journal a little bit different than I did the Boho Sisters. And what I'm doing is I have on the back here some backing, and I'm doing my stitching. And I thought on this particular journal, all of the lines going this way are going to have the vines going so that like they're growing this, growing up. And then these are all going to go this way because this is going to be the front of the journal. And I've made it so that the signatures can fit in there nicely. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a piece of chipboard that's going to fit in here like this. And this is my idea. Whether it works out or not, I'm not sure at this point, but we'll find out. And then I have another piece of this batting that I'm going to put on the back. And my idea is to put these together, stitch them together around the perimeter, which would create the journal. And it's probably going to be hard to show my idea here, but anyway, it will be like that. Picked up a thread here. And then I want to do some stitching around, or some beadwork around the outside. And I'm going to be putting and embellishing all of these leaves with some beadwork. So if you can imagine all of this being the white vines that have been embroidered on there, and then each one of those having beads on there. So I'm going to show a little bit of the process on how I created that part. So let me get myself set up here. Okay, so I'm going to show first how I have no idea if this is right or wrong, because I'm just kind of making a knot here. I do a double knot, and lots of people I know with embroidery don't like to make knots, but I do that because I don't want it to come through the fabric, and with a journal, when it's all completed and together, I don't want it to come unstitched. So that's just how I do it. If you know a better way or have a better way, please use that process. So I do have down here, you'll see this is where I'm working right now. So I go in and lay my foundation row, and then I come back and make these. If that's the right way, I don't know. If it's the wrong way, I don't know, but that's the way I do it. So it's right for me, I guess. So I'll go ahead and start here on the darker color because you'll be able to see it with the white thread or cream colored thread. So what I've done, let me start with that. The pieces, I put them all, I just cut random pieces of scrap fabric that I had that was in the colors that I wanted. And then what I did was I pinned them all down so that I could see how I wanted them laid out. And so you have your backing, and then I just pinned everything down up to the edge of that piece of backing. So that way I have my foundation going. So let's turn this around so I can get started here. And like I said, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but it's right for me. So I would say, I'm not really good at measuring, but I would say that's about 1/8 of an inch away from where the seam comes together. I take this pin out so that we don't go over that. So I just kind of smooth the fabric down. I don't use an embroidery hoop. I tried that and it didn't work too well. So I just pull it till the knot comes through. And then it's a little tricky with the pins in there, but I just kind of gather it up and I go maybe 3/4 of an inch away. I come back halfway. I pull it through. Now this thread that I'm using is a cotton thread, so it does knot a little bit if I go too fast. So I kind of go slow with it. And then you're going to always work with your thread on the pulling it to the right and working your needle to the left of the thread. Again, you're going to go from the point you just came out about 3/4 of an inch. You want to make sure that you get this tucked in so that you're going right up here. Okay, so we're going to just stick that in. Like I said, it's a little hard to do this way, but I found it was much easier than in a hoop. Go in, come back up, keep your needle to the left, thread to the right, and pull it through. And you don't want to pull it too tight because that will cinch up on there. So once you get going with that, that's just how I created the whole vine on the whole length. Okay, and then we're just going to come in again. It doesn't have to be perfect, at least I don't think so. So you're just going to keep doing that until you get to the end. So I'm just going to come down, like when you get to the end, you're just, let's pretend we're at the end. You're just going to come and pull that down through. And then what I do is I come up through one of these points and I make a loop, pulling the thread to my left and around to the right. I go back in the same place I came out, and depending on how big I want that leaf to be, I come up and you're going to pull that into the loop. And then you're going to come down on the outside of the loop so that it makes a little couch over and holds that stitch in place. So pull that out. I hope this is showing on my video here. Okay. And you're going to make your loop to the left, pull it around to the right, go in the same spot you just came out. And what I do is go over into the next panel so that I catch that in there. Pull that down. Make sure your fabric is nice and smooth before you cinch that down. And then go on the outside of the loop and pull your thread through. Okay, and of course get it caught on a pin. So you're going to just pull that down and you're just going to come back up through the next spot there where the intersection is on there, and you're just going to do the same thing again, pulling that thread to the left, going in the same place you came up, going out for the petal or the leaf, pulling it down, going on the outside of it, coming back up where you started, and going the other way. So that's how I did all of those stitches on there. And like I said, I will be doing those all the way across and down the length of each intersection. Okay, so I'm going to put my needle in here so I can stop where I'm at. And I'm going to show you up here. Let me see if I can do this in a way that makes sense. So I have some Nymo thread, bead thread here. I've already pre-strung my needle because I've learned that takes forever on camera and you don't want to see that. Alright, so I need to have some beads here. So normally I have this piece of felt that I work off of, but because I'm just going to be demonstrating a little bit today, I'm going to reach up and grab this little container here, and hopefully I won't spill these all over. So I have this little mix here of different colored seed beads. There's even some bugle beads in there, although I'm not going to use those. So I'm just going to dump that out. Got a little thread in there as well. Get that out. Alright, so, oops, that's not my needle. So I'm going to grab my needle. I'm going to double my thread. I know you can't see this on film, but I'm just going to pull until I have my two ends of the thread together. About. And I'm going to just wrap that around and tie that into a double knot. Now, you could go in the back side of the batting and attach that. I just do it this way because you're not going to see the backing. If the backing was visible, I would make this much cleaner, but for this particular project you don't need to do that. So you just go through twice and make that a really solid knot. Cinch it down. I'll grab my scissors. Alright, so the next part here, I'm going to take that thread with the knot in the end there, and I'm going to come up here. I'll start over here so that I'm not interfering with my other thread going on. So I'm just going to come up at that point on the end where we couch down the leaf, and I'm going to pull my thread through, and I'm going to grab a seed bead, any one, and not in the same place, a little bit, very tiny little bit over from it. You're just going to pull that through to the back side. Now I double the thread so I don't have to go through it twice. The only thing with that is, as you can see, you get one a little bit longer, so you gotta kind of play with it, especially the first ones. They tend to be the troublemakers. So just pull that thread in. Just want to make sure that your thread is even on the back. And then we're just going to come up again on the next point. That's the hard part, is finding the point with your needle. Again, I use size 11 or 12 seed beads and a size 0 Nymo thread. So we're going to grab another one, just one. Go ahead and go down very close to where you came up. I'm just going to do this all along each one of these and kind of make like a little end to the leaf, or a little bud on there. Pull that through. Oops, come up through. Don't put your bead on before you come up through. I'm going to come up through here. And put a bead on. And come back down very close to where we were. So I'll do a little close up here once I get this one on. This will be much easier to do. I'm just doing this on camera for you guys. I'll actually cut these few off and start over because I want to get all my stitching done first and then come back and put my beads on, because otherwise this beading thread is going to get caught every time on all these pins that I have in here. So I'm just doing this now so I have an opportunity to make a video, so I thought I'd show you both things. So So again, we're just going to pull that thread up, put the bead on, pull the thread down, and see we've got our thread hooked up over here. So now we got a knot. So yeah, this is going to be much easier to do once all those pins are out of the way. But we'll just get this going here. All right. Pull that thread all the way through. So I'm going to do a little close up here so you can see, hopefully, what we've added right in here is our beads. So we're just going to have those all the way along on all sides. I'm going to use the same color beads to do the edging around the edge once I stitch those together. So stay tuned. I'll try to keep up with the videos so that you guys can see the progress. And thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I ask that you consider doing so if you like my content. Thank you for stopping by and watching the video, and I hope you have a great day.